The idea of taking the Broadway show to the film version was exciting to me because it felt like we could kind of have the best of both worlds. We could have this great music while still being able to kind of live with our characters in a close-up, to be able to have new jokes and new moments that are surprising to people. I think that over the years I've realized that these characters and this story have had a much longer shelf life than anyone could have anticipated, and so to get to do something new with them, I think people will be surprised.
You don't say Mean Girls and no one knows what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's an incredibly high standard already on the project based on how massive it was, and also the level of work and talent and skill that went into making something like that, and having it have the longevity that it does.
Right. So we never really do this, but
you're invited to eat lunch with us for the rest of the week.
Yeah, one of the biggest changes from the 2004 film is that now in 2024 we have social media, and that is one of the biggest differences between these two, the two ways in which we tell this story. Social media has a huge influence on the politics of high school and how the popular girls operate, how the bullies operate. It's so new. So that is an element that has been worked into our movie in a really interesting and fun way, I think.
These girls are so talented. I had seen Renee in Mean Girls on Broadway when she had taken over the part, and had watched this TV show that she's on, just sort of in preparation for coming to work with her, and was sort of I'm floored by her natural ability. She's just incredibly gifted, and it's just natural, it just comes so naturally to her. And also I'm friends with Jenna Fisher forever. I've known Jenna for a million years. And when I first met Auli'i, I texted Jenna and I was like, it's bizarre. You guys, she is a little you. The casting is so good.
It's funny, when they offered me the role, I thought, wow, why did they think of me for this? It's been a while since I've been on camera. I wonder why did I pop in their minds? And then I Googled Auli'i and I was like, oh, that's why. We look identical. She actually looks like a grown-up version of my daughter. I could imagine my daughter growing up to look like her. So, yeah, it's very, very similar.
Cut.
Most of the time when we see popular girl, the popular girl in media, it feels very one-dimensional, and there's no nuance and no subtlety to the character itself, which is just simply not true. And any girl who's, gone to high school and encountered a popular girl for themselves will tell you that it's hard to fully hate them. You love them a little bit and you do hate them. These girls have insecurities too, and they have problems too, and oftentimes those aren't represented in media. So it's nice to see villains be humanized a little.
Well, it's cool to see it in a different world, because in the early 2000s, technology was at a very different point, and now it's become such a part of all of our lives, in those 20 years. And so the use of social media and stuff in this movie and in telling the story and in the spread of information and gossip is really cool, because it's not all just word of mouth anymore, not all just phone calls, and it's FaceTimes and TikTok and stuff like that. I think for me at least, I was like, oh, that's a really interesting way of incorporating technology in the modern age into a story that already exists.
There are strong female leads, there are people of color. Tina and I also had a conversation. She was like, hey, why don't we change Janice's last name to reflect more of your Hawaiian background? And I was like, great. And so we added that into the film, and it's these small but sure steps, I think, that make actors feel more connected to their character, and also hopefully lends then to a more authentic performance that viewers will catch on to.
I'm sorry, Regina. You can't sit with us.
I think audiences are gonna like a lot of things. I think it's hard to choose a specific thing, but it is just such a fresh take on such a beloved, tale. It's always nice to see characters that you know and you love and that you're familiar with kind of be resurrected in a way.
It's Mean Girls. It's hot. It's sexy. We care so much. And we care about what we do. And so we put our best foot forward, just as Tina and Jeff and Eric and Micah and every single person did who worked on the project, to make it the best version of what it could be. So it's a must-see because we're all very hot and we're all very enticing. And the movie is good.